Today we're reading some more Entitled People and I hope you guys are excited. We've got a lot to get into today, so I'm not going to waste any time. Enjoy, guys. Okay, the first story of the day is called Being Called Entitled for Changing My Locks 2 years ago. This one's a weird story that just happened over the weekend and I thought y'all might enjoy it. So, Saturday night, the missus and I are lying in bed trying to go to sleep when I hear some noise from the back door. Storm door opens and slams shut. I'm not fully asleep yet, so I put on pants and shirt and I find and grab a trusty shotgun. We move to the mountainside and most of the area is still wooded, and living in such condition, wild animals are an issue. We have bears and coyotes and raccoons and bobcats, just to name a few. So as I'm moving to the back door, I hear a window break in the back garage. I look out and I see somebody breaking into my garage. I scream for my wife to call the sheriff police. Around here, 911 doesn't work well for breaking in. We're connected with a couple of counties and it gets confusing for them. We get a quicker response by calling them direct. I'm now in go mode, thinking some method is trying to score some tools for some quick money. I got out of the house and I noticed this person's truck is still running. I did the only thing I could think of and I took the key out of the truck and I put it in my pocket and waited for the deputies to show up. Took them about 20 minutes to show up. One was state police and the other was a local sheriff deputy who was doing radar 10 miles up the road. My wife and I know them both. With my gun in my hand, I told them somebody was in the garage and I haven't approached it yet, but here's the key to the perp's truck. They go in, gun dawned out, and they deal with the situation. The dude was passed out on an old bench seat for an old truck I have by my tool bench. They wake him up and arrest him and they have little to no issues besides him screaming profanity at them. They told me that I can press charges and to come in on Monday to file the paperwork. He's not getting out anytime soon since on top of his breaking in, he's also being charged with a DUI. Yesterday I spent the day traveling to fix the windows this a-hole broke. Since no stores around me are open on Sunday, while in my travels, I'm fuming at the fact that I'm having to do this repair on a piece of junk door from the 70s. My wife was telling me to maybe let him go with a warning, but I'm having none of it. So this morning I went to the sheriff's office. The same deputy was there that arrested the perpetrator, so I asked him how the ride was with the dude. This is the version the officer gave me. Officer, why did you break into the garage? Perpetrator, I was trying to get my stuff back, but somebody changed the lock. Officer, you know they purchased that place from Kevin 2 years ago, right? Perpetrator, what? That doesn't give them the right to change the lock without telling me. Officer, yeah, they can. You haven't been to that house for like 4 years, and I was the one who got you out of that house because you beat the hell out of your old lady. That's twice I get to arrest you on the same property. Perpetrator, but he shouldn't be entitled to change the locks. Where else am I supposed to go? A little backstory on the property. We purchased it from Kevin, who's a school board member, and gave us a decent deal on the property. He had the property as a rental for his nephew for a few years. When his nephew started walking in his dad's footsteps by getting drunk and beating his girlfriend at the time, he evicted him from the property 2 years before we purchased it. When he evicted him, he emptied the content of the garage as all scrap metal. He found that out Sunday morning when his uncle paid him a visit in jail. Kevin had other renters on the property after. He sold it to us because he didn't want the responsibility of it anymore. He's being charged with trespassing, criminal trespassing, breaking and entering, driving under the influence, and property damage of less than $500. Wow, that's hilarious. How dare you change the locks? If you do that, then I can't get in anymore. You're not entitled to do that. Oh wait, yes you are. You completely are. A wild start to the episode. The next one is called Do I Have a Sign on My Head That Says Porter? I had a weird flight a few years back. Serves me right for flying southwest, I guess. It started at the boarding line. Just as boarding had begun, the man in front of me turned around and said, "Hey, do you mind watching my bags while I go to the men's room?" As I said, boarding had started and the line was about to move in mere seconds. First of all, I don't know you, so I don't know what the hell is in your bags, and I'm not taking responsibility for them. Secondly, you don't have time. I'm certainly not going to hold up this line or get out of it to wait for you. I told him no, and he got all huffy about it. I thought it was a weird exchange, but I let it roll off my back. But it got even stranger on the plane. I'm settled into an aisle seat, and a 60-plus-year-old overdressed woman trundles up the aisle with a roller bag, and when she gets to my seat, she says, "I'm volunteering you to put this in the bin for me," and she left her suitcase in the aisle and then continued back towards the rear of the plane. Before I could even say a word, F this you know what, if you can't lift it, don't travel with it, and also F this you know what for not even waiting for a response. I simply ignored it. While I may have rolled my eyes and helped her if she had simply asked, I found her "I'm volunteering you" presumption to be offensive as hell. I don't take well to demands. It was blocking the aisle and a flight attendant came up to me and asked whose bag it was. I told her I had no idea who it belonged to, but I knew that it wasn't wasn't mine. She took it forward somewhere. What the hell is up with people? Yeah, I don't know, and I feel like we're trying to answer that question in every episode. I volunteer you to do this thing for me, and then bloody walks away. Like they had to be at least a little bit delusional. That's such a weird thing to do. You can take this. Okay, bye. Doesn't even wait for OP to say something. And also on a plane, they could have easily done that to somebody who had like headphones in or something, and they wouldn't have even bloody heard them. The next one is called Pharmacy Line Karen. This one's probably a mundane post, but I had to get it off my chest. Today I was waiting in line at my pharmacy, and an elderly woman asked if she could go ahead of me. If it were just me in the line, I probably would have said yes, but there were other people lined up, so I told her, you can go ahead of me, but you have to ask the other people in the line as well. And this Karen blew up at me. I don't know exactly what she said because I was focusing on myself and my meds, but she started screaming at me. I turned to her and said, "You're harassing me. Do we need to get the police involved?" I know the language is stilted, but in my line of work, I'm trained to be direct about that sort of thing. She had the nerve to say that she wasn't harassing me at all and that she would gladly call the police, all because I didn't give her my place in line. I said, okay, sure, call them. I actively encourage you to do so. In fact, I'll wait here after I get my medical to ensure the police get the story straight. Karen actually calls the police. They show up because, well, they have to. Karen gets a lecture from a very large man about the context of when she should call the police. She's informed that me not letting her budge in line and what she calls bad customer service is not a reason to involve the police. The pharmacist is on his third cup of coffee since this all started. I know he's an innocent victim in all of this, and if I did let Karen ahead of me, his issues might not exist. The officer removes Karen, who's audibly angry, and asking the officer how she can get her meds if she gets banned from the store. I don't know, Karen. Have them transferred to a different pharmacy and behave like an actual human being there. The top comment says, pharmacy worker here. You have no idea. Yeah, I can't even imagine how much stuff like this people would say. How do you have the energy to deal with stuff like this? And yeah, imagine being the police officer. They would have been so frustrated. Like, you made us come over here for that? Are you out of your mind? Probably. The next one is called My Friend is a Biatch. Okay, so the story began during a class I had with this one friend. Him and I have the same headphones, though mine are relatively newer, and his were old. I went to the washroom and I left my headphones on the table, and he did a switcheroo, and I didn't recognize it until break. I tried connecting them and they didn't work, and when I looked closer, they were old, so I knew that he took them. I confronted him and he began to rant about how they've been in his bag for a long time, but I persisted and he caved in and said maybe they magically were exchanged. His pair had a malfunction, another reason I found out about it, and once he gave me mine back, he blamed me that I broke his headphones, while I did no such thing. I tried to explain, but he didn't listen and says he wants me to pay for repair cost. I'm considering to break our friendship and move on, even if we end up on bad terms, but I feel bad as well as he was a decent friend to me. He's asked me to fix them and he's bringing them tomorrow, and I want to help him, but I don't want to pay if I can't, as I'm not the reason it happened. I think he's entitled AF. Update, I had a so-called talk with him and he was screaming and stuff, saying it's my fault, but at the end I said he stole it, and he stopped saying and said he would deal with it via the professors. I know he's scared now, but I've officially finished our friendship. It's calming, for real. Wow, so they're willing to ruin their friendship with you over some headphones? Yeah, that's not a very good friend. The top comment said he tries to scam you, it doesn't work, and now he's gaslighting you to fix his broken crap. That's no kind of friend I'd want. Tell him to kick rocks. He can be as mad as he wants. If you do this, he'll know that you're open to manipulation, and that'll be the new standard you've allowed to be set for your friendship. Yeah, definitely. It sounds like you did the right thing, OP. The next one is called Entitled Neighbor Doesn't Want Me to Make Any Noise in My Own Home. Apparently a new person moved in below me sometime in December. I, 23 female, was gone for most of December, so I had no idea until I got back home from celebrating the holidays. My first night back, I had a friend spending the night. I'll call her Clara. We weren't being too loud, but we were chatting and catching up. She went to her car to grab something, and an old man stopped to talk to her. I'll call him Richard. He asked if we were throwing a party. She said no. He then said he kept hearing loud banging sounds, and that we needed to be more mindful of the people living below us. Okay. Clara got back and told me what happened and asked if I'd spoken to Richard before. I told her I hadn't. Soon afterwards, he knocked on the door. So for some context, I'm neurodivergent. A man I don't know knocking repeatedly on my door late at night really freaked me out. I was also wearing pajamas, and because of this, Clara agreed to go talk to him for me, which I was thankful for. He went off on it. He said he's been hearing banging sounds for weeks since he moved in. He keeps hearing weights dropping. I don't lift weights. He hears things drop at midnight and 2 a.m. He even said he can hear when I flush the toilet. Creepy. Also, I hadn't been home in weeks. At one point during the conversation, my cat tried to escape and I had to run over and grab him. This will be important later. Richard has left me alone for the past 2 weeks, though sometimes at night while in bed I'd hear banging on the walls or floor. Unfortunately, he came back tonight. I decided I was going gonna tell him once and for all that I wasn't making noise. It didn't go well. I tried telling him that I'm not the one making noise. He said, yes you are. I hear sound and then I see you leave in the morning. Then I hear sound again when I see you come home. You drive this car, right? What the hell? Okay, now he's admitted to watching me and he knows which car is mine. And I honestly don't know what the hell he's hearing in the morning besides me waking up and putting on shoes. I'm not an early riser. I sleep as late as I can and then wake up, get dressed and leave. I'm not doing morning workouts. He also tried to catch me in a gotcha sort of moment. He said, last time I was here, your lady friend said you couldn't come to the door because you weren't dressed, but then I saw you come grab your cat. Yes sir, she was correct. I was wearing pajamas, not clothing I wanted you to see me in. He kept on going on about constant banging, saying that he needed to be awake at 4 a.m. for dialysis and that he needed sleep, and then he finally left after saying that he's not trying to be a jerk. I'm at a loss. I don't know what banging sounds he's talking about other than me walking and complaining about me flushing the toilet. Seriously? My cat is 18 pounds, not obese, just a massive frame, and he runs and jumps around when he gets zoomies, so I wonder if he's hearing him. Regardless, the apartment allows pets, and Thunder is an ESA. I should be allowed to walk around in my own apartment and flush my own damn toilet without worrying that I'll piss somebody off. I'll no longer answer the door if he shows up, but unfortunately he has admitted to watching me, so he knows my schedule. If you don't want to put up with footsteps or animals and toilet flushing, you should not move into a pet-friendly apartment complex. Okay, so we have an update here. Update: entitled neighbor doesn't want me to make noise in my own home. Hi everybody, I appreciated all the support that I got on my last post about my neighbor Richard. I wanted to give you all an update, but it might be a little bit disappointing unfortunately. I called the office and I told them about the situation, and they told me they were going to call him and tell him to not interact with me and to make any complaints through them. This seemed to improve things at first, but he unfortunately decided to start banging on the ceiling whenever he felt I was being too loud. At first it wasn't that bad. 1 or 2 smacks randomly, easy enough to ignore. Like in the first post, several smacks occurred when I was laying in bed. Last night he escalated it. It was around 10 to 11 p.m. I was walking around my apartment a little bit. I had a bad cord and I was trying to find a different cord to replace it. He started smacking again. I ignored it, but he kept doing it and was slowly getting more aggressive. It was starting to freak me out a little bit. At this point I wasn't even moving anymore. I was just sitting at my desk, and then he got pissed and was full force punching the ceiling. I think I counted 7 times in a row. It was bad enough to make the place shake. I was really scared at this point, so I did what my mum and most of Reddit told me to do. I called the police. Unfortunately, they weren't very helpful. Here's how the conversation went. M is me and C is cop. Cop: has he threatened you in any way? Me: no, not direct. He's been told to not knock on my door and now he's being really aggressive with hitting the ceiling. Cop: I can't do anything if a crime has not been committed. Me: the ceiling hitting is really scaring me and is admitted to watching me leave and come back before. Cop: stuff like this are a part of apartment living. Him watching you was likely just him trying to figure out the source of the noise. I can talk to him if you want, but at that point he'll know you called the police and that might make things worse off for you. I'm not saying you are making noise, but I've had to speak to my upstairs neighbors before too. You don't live below anyone, so it can be hard to understand. Me: no, I do live below somebody too, and I hear noises sometimes. Cop: then you know what it's like. Me: no, they make sound, but it isn't bad and I just ignore it. Cop: like I said, I've had to speak to neighbors before too. Me: yeah, but your neighbors were probably actually making noise. At this point I started to cry. Unfortunately, it just happens to me when I'm really stressed. I was trying as hard as I could to keep it together to be able to speak. Cop: I know things like this can be frustrating. I can talk to him if you want. Me: no, you just told me that would be a bad idea. Cop: I never said that. At that point, I wanted the cop to go away. I told him to leave, but I asked him to let the record show that I felt unsafe in my own home. This morning I contacted the office again and had a very interesting conversation. They told me they had spoken to him and had indeed told him to make any complaints through them and not talk to me. They also said that him watching me leave wasn't meant to make me feel threatened and that he never intended to follow me, but was an observation he brought up when I tried to tell him that I wasn't home when he was complaining about sound. I told the office that he had been complaining about sound from when I wasn't there, that I'd been gone for at least half the month of December. Well, apparently he told them that I'd had a friend over and she'd likely been making the noise when I was gone. Are you kidding me? Clara was there for a single night. He's legit making up stories in his head now to make things make sense. The office is trying to be a middleman in this situation, which I guess I understand, but it's aggravating since I know that I'm not making loud banging sounds. I told the office about my current theory, that the loud banging sounds are the heating system coming on. It would make sense for the heat to be more likely to come on when I enter the building and let in the cold air. Correlation does not equal causation. The good news is that he's not allowed to be banging on the ceiling like he has been. The office will be telling him to stop, and if he does it again, I'll report him every single time. I will be keeping a log of everything. Sorry that this update probably isn't very satisfying. I'm so tired and shaken up, and the police department is not helpful. It's a very very lonely feeling. I understand everybody is trying to be impartial, but it just makes me feel so defeated, like nobody believes me. Update, I wrote this all out yesterday, and in the time it took me to write it, he banged on the ceiling again, despite the landlord telling him that he wasn't allowed. I called them again and they said they'd do something. Not sure what though. The top comment says, stick with it, keep reporting it every time, and maybe invest in security cameras in your home to record moments of you not making any noise, yet he bangs on the floor. It seems that there's something wrong with him, so please be careful. He's not acting rationally. The next one is called Karen asks a 6-year-old tourist to speak English. Honestly, I don't know how to start the story, so I'll just introduce the characters. Me, 18 years old, male. My younger cousin, 6 years old, male Karen, guess random saleswoman. I'm from Serbia and our relatives moved to America a long time ago. After a few years, we finally managed to organize a visit to America together with our relatives and obtain visas. It was a nice and strange experience there, but that's not the point of this story. After a few days, my parents sent me with my little cousin, 6 years old, also from Serbia, to do some shopping. They sent me and my cousin, let's call him David, asked if he could come with me. I said why not and got permission from his parents. Off we went. David can barely speak Serbian, let alone English. He knows how to count in English and can say cat, and I think that's the extent of his English knowledge. You have to understand, in Serbia, kids his age are still learning the alphabet. In a local store, we started gathering groceries, and of course, I was talking to David in Serbian. If somebody addressed him, I translated what they said. After a few minutes, Karen arrives, literally fitting the stereotype except for not wearing glasses. Karen, you're in America, speak English. Me, sorry? Karen, you're in America, speak English, you stupid immigrants. Me, I'm not from here, I'm a tourist staying with relatives. Karen, it doesn't matter, speak English. Me, but my cousin doesn't know English, he can barely speak our native language. Karen, you Russians are poisoning the country, you should be kicked out. Serbian and Russian can sound very similar to somebody unfamiliar with Slavic languages. Me, we're not Russians, we're Serbians. Karen, that's part of Russia, I can tell by your accent. Me, now angry because she's insulting my country. Just leave me alone and don't insult a country you don't even know exists. Karen, it's probably irrelevant. Me, leave me please. Karen, all Russians are the same. David, what is this woman saying? Karen, teach him to speak English. Saleswoman, I'll call the police, you're already banned from this store. Karen, they're spies and they're here to destroy our country. I still don't know who, but somebody called the police, and 10 minutes after 4 officers arrived. Karen, these are Russian spies. Saleswoman, this woman has already been warned not to come back here. Karen, no, these are Russian spies. The police arrested her and asked what happened. We told them and they said they'd consider it for a lawsuit. However, she was already in big trouble for reasons they didn't tell me. What she did was minor compared to the undisclosed issues. That night we received an apology coupon and the saleswoman told us that Karen had participated in a robbery at another store. She was banned from all stores of that chain and was on probation. As for David, he surprisingly remained calm and I bought him some toys to forget about the incident. The saleswoman asked me not to say which store this happened in and I don't know why. Oh my god, yeah, I already know that's enough for today. What's wrong with people? And if they had a 6-year-old, I'd like to see them learn a different language. What do you think yelling at somebody who doesn't speak English, telling them to speak English? The only thing you're achieving by doing that is showing everybody that you're an a-hole. And that's enough for today. I hope you had a wonderful time today. It's definitely time to read something wholesome. I asked this man if he needed help. He replied that he was waiting for his wife so he could scare her. Oh, that's so cute. Not enough people scare each other, I don't feel like. I can't even remember the last time I did this to somebody. But yeah, that's so cute. A sign on a power pole. I lost my freaking cat. His name is Trip, but he's a biatch and doesn't respond to it. But I love him and I still want him back. $500 reward. This sign has been up by my house for weeks and curiosity got the better of me. So I texted the number. Hey, did you ever find your cat? I found my freaking cat. I'm so happy for you. That's so beautiful. Oh, that's so beautiful. Nobody should ever lose their cat. That would have been so tragic. But yeah, it turned out wholesome. My D&D character, Herbertha Finfine. She's an all baking, all embroidering, all worries Midwestern turtle druid based on my mum. Oh, that's so cute. And that's such an awesome character. And they look so cool. And the look on their face too. Yeah, that's so sweet. Did you ever see something so cute and it made you want to buy it? Me? Yeah, wow, that is super cute. And I do want to buy it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful time. And if you did and you want to see more episodes like this, make sure you like and subscribe. And the comment of the day today goes to Hawk Pole. The wholesome ones made me remember this. I worked in a large aquatic store, tropical fish and koi, etc. And an elderly lady came in with a filter that had stopped working. So she said she needed a new one. She couldn't really afford it, but she wasn't going to let her fish suffer. I checked out the filter and I realized that it was simply the impeller hadn't been cleaned and it was a bit clogged. I took it out back, I cleaned it, I checked it was working, and I took it back, explaining explaining how she had to maintain it. She thanked me and left happy, and I thought no more of it until she returned half an hour later with a jar of her homemade marmalade as a thank you. It made my week. Oh, that's so cute. That's a wholesome meme in itself. This comment was on our latest Stories About Retail episode. Hawk Paul 8735, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. I feel better after reading this. And yeah, guys, thank you for all your support. It means so much to me. Got a brand new episode ready for tomorrow, and I hope to see you then. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!